You have arrived at our channel. That is most obviously demonstrated by Catherine Zeta-Jones, a red carpet queen, an actress with acting chops, and a beauty icon. A marriage to Michael Douglas, stardom, and an impressive career. She had it all. But beneath the glittering lights, there was a life beset with anguish and suffering. A stepson sent to prison, a husband embroiled in harassment claims and shocking remarks about his illness, a fairy tale marriage on the brink of collapse, and a host of other scandals. Catherine Zeta-Jones, how did you deal with the truth? A woman's unrelenting struggle for survival in the merciless Hollywood industry is the subject of this narrative. Catherine Zeta-Jones was born into a working-class household in Swansea, Wales on September 25, 1969. Both of her parents worked in the baking and sewing industries. Her struggle for survival began at an early age. A tracheotomy was necessary to save Catherine's life after she suffered from serious respiratory difficulties caused by a hazardous illness. That life-or-death struggle would always be visible to her in the form of a scar on her neck. Even though her family was poor, a lucky lottery ticket changed everything. With the £100,000 they won, her parents were able to purchase a pastry business, upgrade their neighborhood, and, most significantly, support their daughter's artistic passions. Catherine set out on an exceptional path as an artist from that point on. With her church's performance group, she began singing and dancing when she was just 4 years old. Her Broadway debut was in the musical Annie when she was 11 years old. She made her West End debut in Bugsy Malone when she was 13 years old. Next, a watershed moment occurred at the age of 14. Mickey Dolenz of the Monkees was the director of a national touring musical, and she was an auditionee. She was whisked away to London to star in The Pajama Game as soon as she landed the role. A daring choice was taken by 15-year-old Catherine Zeta-Jones. She decided to pursue acting professionally and left school. She took a leap of faith because she thought acting was more than a hobby. It was her calling. Catherine broke into the film industry in 1990 with the release of 1001 Nights, a cinematic adaptation of the renowned novel. The part was her first major role in the industry. The story's protagonist, Scheherazade, was portrayed by her. Nevertheless, the picture bombed at the box office and among critics. It earned $70,800 in France that year despite selling just 254,739 tickets. Her cinematic career almost came to an end when critics were just as unimpressed as she was. Following this first disappointment, Catherine came to the realization that breaking into Hollywood was no picnic. Instead of giving up, she went back to England in search of fresh chances. She became a household name in Britain after returning home. She landed the lead role in the May 1991 to 1993 hit TV series The Darling Buds. As a result of the show's success, Catherine rose to prominence as a leading British television actress and was later named a national treasure for her timeless, sophisticated beauty. She still wouldn't settle, though, even as her star began to rise. She intended to make it big in Hollywood, the land of opportunity. Catherine relocated to the United States in pursuit of her Hollywood dream, but her nightmare came to an end not long after she arrived. As far as the industry was concerned, a British TV actress was irrelevant. She was only able to land forgettable parts in films like Christopher Columbus, The Discovery, 1992, The Phantom, 1996, and Splitting Heirs, 1993. Hollywood became much more unreachable as possibilities diminished. There were those who thought Catherine couldn't make it as a leading lady since she didn't have the star power. Fate stepped in right when it looked like every door was closing. Catherine made an appearance in Steven Spielberg's 1993 television series, The Indiana Jones Chronicles, when she was a young actress. Spielberg noticed her, enchanted by her classic good looks and unusual charisma on screen. Point 2, competing hypotheses attempt to explain how Spielberg came across her. He supposedly felt a strong attraction to Catherine after viewing the 1996 TV miniseries Titanic, according to certain accounts. On the other hand, there are many who think his admiration for her acting in the early Indiana Jones films was genuine. Spielberg, for whatever reason, thought Catherine had star power and recognized something exceptional in her. Catherine Zeta-Jones' 1998 breakthrough performance as Elena Montero in Zorro, The Mask, was the turning point in her career. Catherine starred alongside Anthony Hopkins and Antonio Banderas, and she was very stunning. Viewers could not tear their eyes away from her due to her timeless beauty, regal presence, and indisputable charisma on film. But her attractive features were more than that. Elena came to life as a captivating, strong, and fiercely independent heroine thanks to her intense acting and dogged drive. Catherine made Elena an iconic character, boosting the film's popularity with her expressive eyes, body language, and lines. But getting the part wasn't a picnic. Among her formidable opponents were Shakira, Penelope Cruz, and Isabella Scorupco. Catherine dedicated herself fully to training in order to portray Elena Montero to perfection. For the most convincing portrayal, she devoted months to training in horseback riding, sword fighting, dancing, and perfecting her Spanish. She established Elena as a formidable and fascinating on-screen presence by acting out every sword fight scene with Antonio Banderas herself. Without the use of a stunt double, the film went from a $95 million budget to almost $250 million in worldwide earnings in an instant. In addition to doing well at the box office, The Mask of Zorro received high marks from reviewers. Highly regarded as a top-tier action-adventure picture from the 90s. After her breakthrough role, Catherine Zeta-Jones was panned by critics and named by many publications as one of Hollywood's most captivating actresses. Catherine Zeta-Jones formally won Hollywood while wearing the Zorro mask. She was in high demand by Hollywood producers and was no longer merely a budding star on British television. She proceeded to demonstrate her talent beyond her breathtaking good looks after this breakthrough. The 1999 film Entrapment, in which she co-starred with the renowned Sean Connery, was a watershed moment in her career. Known worldwide for her breathtaking agility, gracefulness, and irresistible charisma, Catherine stole the show in the film's renowned laser dodge scene. That scene solidified Catherine's place as one of the most alluring sex symbols in Hollywood's recent history and helped propel the film to a $212 million worldwide total. Catherine had a huge breakthrough with Traffic, 2000, a drama film she had dabbled in addition to her action film career. She brought nuanced psychological complexity to the role of a drug lord's wife in Steven Soderbergh's flick. The fact that she was nominated for a Golden Globe, Screen Actors Guild, and SAG Awards for her performance further cemented her reputation as an accomplished actor. But 2002, when Catherine starred in Chicago, was the year her career truly reached its peak. The musical was a huge success at the box office, earning $306 million, and it also took home the prize for Best Picture at the Oscars. Playing the role of the incisive and captivating Velma Kelly, Catherine gave a performance that was just brilliant. She wasn't merely acting. She had the poise and electrifying energy of a genuine Hollywood star, and she danced and sang well. Accepting her Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress was the crowning achievement of her career. Caris Zeta-Douglas, her daughter, was due in just 10 days at the time she was pregnant. Among the most memorable moments in Oscar history, that moment became legendary. With a dazzling smile, the Golden Trophy is lifted by a movie star who is holding her baby bulge. As the winner with the most emotional baggage to present the award with, Catherine joked that she had broken a record at the Oscars. She was even given the privilege of performing All That Jazz with Queen Latifah. But she knew she was in a dangerous scenario the second she got on the hydraulic lift. Not only was there the added strain of performing live in front of millions of spectators, but there was also the added challenge of keeping one's balance while the platform wobbled. Standing there, she said, was just as nerve-wracking as the notorious award mix-ups. However, Catherine overcame her nerves and gave an absolutely superb performance, demonstrating her professionalism and stage presence no matter how dire the situation. Aside from her acting chops, Catherine Zeta-Jones had other appealing qualities. A personally eventful life also played a role in shaping it. She was in other high-profile romances before meeting Michael Douglas, but none of them ended in marriage. John Leslie, a famous British TV host, was Catherine's first high-profile lover. The two had a passionate affair at first, but Catherine felt stifled by Leslie's excessive jealousy. She decided to quit the relationship because she was increasingly distanced by his angry outbursts and overbearing control. Following that, she fell head over heels for Braveheart star Angus McFadden, a Scottish actor. It seems like he would be the one to accompany her on her wedding day when they became engaged in the mid-1990s. Unfortunately, they split up before the big day. The exact cause of their breakup is still a mystery. When destiny wills it, love will come. During the flash and glamour of the 1998 Deauville Film Festival in France, Catherine Zeta-Jones' life was irrevocably altered by a fortuitous meeting. Upon first sight, Hollywood's iconic leading man Michael Douglas was utterly enthralled. Without thinking twice, he approached a common acquaintance about setting up a drink. A man 25 years her senior had never crossed Catherine's mind as a potential romantic partner. They happened to have the same birthday, September 25th, which seems like a portent of doom. Michael unexpectedly told her, "You are going to be the mother of my children." This news shocked her. It seemed like an extreme pickup line to her, so she sought for a way out immediately. Her response left Michael perplexed. She had heard so much about him, but she felt it was time to say goodbye. Nevertheless, Michael Douglas was not the kind to surrender readily. He knew Catherine was ready to board a plane to Scotland to film Entrapment. So he sent her a bunch of flowers and a sincere apology mailed directly to the theater. An impression was made on the young actress by his honesty and doggedness. They began engaging in lengthy phone talks at that point. They spent 9 months discussing everything from their jobs to their innermost ideas. Catherine was not anticipating falling for Michael at first. However, she felt an increasing attraction to him as time went on. Then, suddenly, they both understood that love had subtly crept in. Their relationship blossomed into a fiery, passionate love affair. Michael made the decision to make the event special on New Year's Eve, 1999, while vacationing in Aspen, Colorado, while both of them were suffering from a bad sickness. He proposed with a vintage ring set with 10 carats of diamonds, valued at $1 million, as the soft light of the candles warmed the room. Catherine promptly agreed, even though she was taken aback. The news that Catherine was pregnant only increased their happiness. Michael made the announcement personally since he didn't want to keep it a secret for too long. "Catherine is expecting, and we couldn't be happier. We're going to keep the news under wraps for a while longer, though." Dylan Douglas was born to the happy couple on August 8, 2000. One of the most lavish weddings in Hollywood was broadcast to the world 3 months later. Catherine and Michael were married in a magnificent ceremony at the Plaza Hotel in New York on November 18, 2000. The wedding cost $1,500,000. The bride donned a breathtaking Christian LaCroix gown and a Celtic-patterned wedding band that she had bought in Aberystwyth, Wales, to honor her heritage. Numerous Hollywood heavy hitters, including Tom Hanks, Brad Pitt, Sharon Stone, Steven Spielberg, Jennifer Aniston, and plenty more, graced the reverent ceremony. Cameron Douglas, Michael's son from a previous marriage, was best man, and on this historic day, his father carried his 3-month-old son Dylan. They tried to buy off OK Magazine's exclusive photo rights for $1 million to limit their visibility, but the tabloids still found a way in. Hi there, in a breach of the couple's privacy. The magazine covertly shot and released 6 images from the affair. Threatened with legal action for invasion of privacy and violation of their image rights, Catherine and Michael were incensed and decided to sue Hello. The court had first found in their favor, but in February 2005, the decision was reversed due to an appeal. Due to the judge's finding that Hello's acts did not result in substantial injury, the magazine was able to escape a heavy fine. Despite the aggravation caused by the litigation, the public's fascination with the wedding was simply increased. Catherine and Michael wasted no time settling into their blissful married life following the lavish celebration. Catherine Zeta-Douglas was born to Catherine and her husband, Tim, in 2002, 3 years after they were married. Michael had about 70 relatives on the tiny island of Bermuda, so they decided to relocate there to get away from the mayhem in Hollywood. There, for 6 years, they shielded their children from the prying eyes of the paparazzi and the stresses of celebrity life. According to Michael, "We considered purchasing a farm in the country, but I reasoned, why go so far when a flight from New York to Bermuda takes just 90 minutes? Going there is even faster than visiting the Hamptons." With a successful profession, a supportive husband, and 2 stunning children, Catherine Zeta-Jones appeared to have it made. She was fighting an unseen struggle behind the glittering exterior. Catherine began exhibiting symptoms of bipolar disorder, a mental condition characterized by severe mood swings between manic highs and deep depressed bouts. After giving birth to Karis in February 2003, she always looked beautiful in public, as if she were trying to cover her problems. However, She was engaged in an ongoing struggle with her own thoughts on the inside. She was hospitalized numerous times due to the physical and mental toll of the illness. But Catherine was adamant about keeping her struggles hidden from the world. However, her efforts to hide it just made matters worse. Concurrently, their family was rocked by yet another calamity. Cameron Douglas, who was born to Michael Douglas's first marriage, was taken into custody in February 2009 on charges of cocaine possession and trafficking. Hollywood was rocked by the scandal, which engulfed the Douglas family in a torrent of bad press. In 2010, things took a turn for the worse when Cameron was found selling drugs while incarcerated, which resulted in his sentence being increased to 7 years. Witnessing his son's appearance before a court was a crushing blow for Michael, a man who had dedicated his life to forging a storied profession. He was consumed by remorse, convinced that Cameron had been led astray by his dogged ambition. Michael said, "I failed Cameron," in a deeply moving interview. Someone could have killed him, or he could have died out there. However, he does have a second opportunity to change his life while incarcerated. Catherine felt the burden of the controversy on her family, even though she was not Cameron's real mother. She battled her own mental health issues in silence for a long time, while still providing emotional support to her husband. However, her efforts to maintain her strength were met with increasing exhaustion. She finally gave into it on February 11, 2011. She admitted herself to a hospital for the purpose of receiving treatment for bipolar disorder. She broke her silence about her struggles with mental illness in the hopes that her narrative might dispel the stigma that surrounds it. "Putting her private life on show isn't something she enjoys doing," she said. "However, ever since my illness came to light, my desire has been to assist others in realizing that they are not alone. Having a mental illness is not a cause for shame." However, a more serious problem occurred at the same time as Catherine was beginning to feel better, and it would bring their marriage to its knees. Michael Douglas, who had previously been the Hollywood A-lister, received the tragic news of a stage 4 throat cancer diagnosis in February 2010. It was the most shocking thing that had ever happened to Catherine. In order to focus solely on caring for her spouse, she halted all of her professional endeavors, including leaving film sets and canceling all projects. As she witnessed the powerful and captivating man she loved deteriorate under the devastating effects of radiation and chemotherapy, those months seemed like an endless nightmare. The sight of Michael Douglas at that moment left onlookers speechless. He seemed a shell of his former self, a man who had lost an alarming amount of weight. His voice had gone bad, and his once lively personality had dimmed to a feeble old man. Even though he was in constant agony, Michael fought with dogged resolve, keeping a brave face in front of his loved ones. Meanwhile, Catherine, who put on a brave front in public, was actually paralyzed with fear. Having established a life with Michael, who had shared in her greatest joys and sorrows, the prospect of losing him had never crossed her mind. Her sadness flared up again because of that worry. Catherine endured intolerable stress for a whole year. Despite her best efforts, she was slowly dying on the inside as she tried to be a good wife and mother. Many people thought the Douglas family had finally found peace after Michael's 2011 cancer success announcement. In fact, though, things were very different. During Michael's recovery, Catherine's mental health took a tragic turn. She needed to be hospitalized for treatment once her illness deteriorated to that level. She seemed to have lost all strength after years of holding herself together, according to those close to her, who said she had crumbled after Michael's recovery. Yet, she found herself swept into a new crisis at the same time as she sought assistance for her mental health issues. Once again, her own husband's unexpected statement was the source of the problem. Michael Douglas stunned the world when he publicly discussed his cancer struggle and revealed that HPV, a virus shared through oral intercourse, was the cause of his throat cancer. The media went into a panic after he made the comment, demanding answers regarding his health and his sexual history. Even though Catherine wasn't involved in any way, she found herself in the middle of furious rumors and speculation. Both the public disclosure of such a delicate detail by Michael and the subsequent entanglement in a controversy that Catherine had no desire to be a part of greatly wounded Catherine. She remained silent and out of the spotlight for quite some time. Their marriage had beginning to show signs of strain, though. It appeared like nothing could ever break them after all they had gone through. Michael Douglas and Catherine Zeta-Jones were married for 13 years when the news of their separation shocked Hollywood in February 2013. The tabloids hadn't spread this rumor. Michael startled the public when he confirmed it in an interview. Ideas and conjecture quickly spread like wildfire. Despite rumors to the contrary, no proof of Michael's infidelity ever came to light. After years of mental pressure, Catherine, according to others, had plummeted into alcoholism and serious melancholy. Michael even dropped hints about Catherine's drinking habits, which added fuel to the fire. Word on the street was that Catherine was having a hard time keeping her emotions in check, leading to dramatic outbursts that were straining their relationship. To protect her children from the prying eyes of the media, Catherine opted to stay out of the spotlight and kept quiet. Even though he tried to conceal his obvious signs of fatigue and stress, Michael persisted in his task. While the exact reasons for their separation remained a mystery, one thing was evident: their marital bliss was about to crumble. Suddenly, an unforeseen event transpired. They were reunited after 8 months of being apart. The parties did not petition for a divorce. There were no heated disputes covered by the media, not a single high-profile asset-related lawsuit. There were no extensive explanations. They just reappeared together. Their love had never been stronger, and they wanted everyone to know it this time. "We returned even stronger than before," Michael Douglas said afterwards. One thing was certain, but none could say for sure what had reunited them. Theirs wasn't the kind of Hollywood love story you'd expect. For the sake of one another, they decided to keep fighting despite the odds and their injuries. A moment of delight finally came to the Douglas family after years of strife. Cameron Douglas, Michael's son, served 7 years in prison until being freed in February 2017. On top of that, Michael and Catherine became grandparents for the very first time when Cameron became a father. Michael felt a wave of relief wash over him. He finally witnessed his son's life reconstruction after years of living in constant terror. Another storm blew in right when things looked to be settling down. The accusation of sexual harassment against Michael Douglas was lodged by a former employee in February of 2018. Reigniting public attention, the accusation became a hot topic very fast. She didn't know whether she could trust her spouse after being surprised and devastated. However, she ultimately decided to support him. Michael strongly refuted the claims, stating that they were entirely unfounded. His reputation took a hit because to the scandal, even though the case never went to trial. The fact that Catherine and Michael were able to persevere through the storm as a married couple is another proof of their resilience. Another big change happened to them by 2020. After Karis's high school graduation and college preparations, Catherine and Michael started the bittersweet empty nest era, when they will have to adjust to life without their children living at home. After being together for almost 20 years, they came to terms with the fact that it was now just the two of them. "It is a bit terrifying," Michael conceded. "We're back to being a duo." They promised to take a romantic getaway together after the pandemic ended, and they organized it all in honor of their 20th wedding anniversary. Catherine revealed that they still had a lot of places to see as a pair because they both enjoyed traveling. Time seemed to have flown by in an interview when she made the lighthearted comment that Michael has an exceptionally gifted gene pool. They went from dating to celebrating 20 years of marriage with a college-age child and another on the way. Catherine and Michael were famous, yet they never forced their children to be actors. They were aware of the seedier side of Hollywood and encouraged Dylan and Karis to go their separate ways. But it turned out that both kids were political science majors with remarkable intelligence. The fact that they were so talented as campers at a Broadway theater proved that the Douglas family's passion for the arts ran deep. Catherine and Michael felt a void in their lives when the epidemic hit because their children were in school. But when Dylan and Karis showed up home unannounced, their family treasured the time apart. She thought it was miraculous that they were able to stay united as a family despite everything that had happened, and she couldn't help but compare their position to others. An image of Catherine with her daughter Karis Douglas became an internet sensation in 2021. Many were amazed by the remarkable likeness they displayed when photographed standing side by side. Catherine responded to the remarks with a playful nod, laughing off the remark that she resembled her daughter in her senior years. What really got to her, though, was Karis's exceptional academic performance, which made her very proud. The humor was just icing on the cake to in the aftermath of the storms. Catherine reflected on her marriage and acknowledged that it is never easy to keep a relationship going. According to her, sometimes it's necessary for both spouses to have their own space if they want to keep love alive. Marriage, she once joked, is like purchasing a pricey Chanel purse. You love it at first. However, the novelty may wear off after a while, but she stressed that their love had never wavered, no matter how difficult things had gotten. For her remarkable artistic achievements, Catherine Zeta-Jones was bestowed the Commander of the Order of the British Empire CBE in February 2010. An honorary title wasn't enough to justify this. It was a formal acknowledgement of her accomplished career. Prior to her 1998 Persons magazine cover, she had been Yahoo's most sought actress and had been named one of the world's most attractive persons. Even outside of Hollywood, Catherine made her imprint in the worlds of fashion and business. She gained fame for her classic, sophisticated red carpet style, which many say ushered in a new age of Hollywood elegance. Building on her fame, she introduced a line of beauty products and home decor under the Catherine Zeta-Jones label. There was more at stake than simply making a profit. For her, it was an opportunity to reimagine and broadcast her unique sense of style. Catherine Zeta-Jones has proven that Hollywood is still accepting of gifted actors in her 50s by maintaining her charisma and launching a strong return. She took some time off to work on her family and her company, but in 2022, she returned with a bang as Morticia Addams in Wednesday, a worldwide hit on Netflix. Fans of Catherine's from a whole new age were won over by her performance as Morticia. Her 2023 part in Disney's National Treasure, Edge of History further solidified her lasting appeal and sustained her comeback. Even though many of her peers have retired from the limelight, Catherine is still a highly sought-after figure in the entertainment industry, as well as in business and sponsorship deals. Nonetheless, her brilliance goes beyond the confines of the screen. She has remained a timeless fashion icon since she first arrived in Hollywood, and she has never wavered from her traditional, elegant style. Catherine always turns heads with her classic, elegant style, whether she's walking the red carpet or posed for an intimate photo. With each breathtaking gown, exquisitely fitted form, and thoughtfully chosen color palette, her distinctive old Hollywood glamour aesthetic combines the wistful charm of vintage Hollywood with contemporary refinement. Catherine has achieved great success in both performing and business. Catherine Zeta-Jones is a high-end label that she owns and operates in the fashion, footwear, beauty, and home decor industries. Catherine and Michael Douglas are currently enjoying a second honeymoon phase in their $33 million Spanish mansion, thanks to her successful career and endorsement deals with major brands like Visa, Elizabeth Arden, Alfa Romeo, and T-Mobile. Her total advertising income is around $20 million. When they're not at work, they hit the road and experience the kind of independence they lacked when they were younger. Thanks to her reported $150 million net worth, Catherine is able to live a life of luxury while remaining discreet. Like a lottery ticket once altered the course of her family's destiny, was Catherine Zeta-Jones's success due to chance? She has been through it all, from being a little-town girl in Wales to being an eternal symbol of Hollywood, from the brightest lights to the darkest depths. However, she would not have made it through the innumerable storms, illnesses, family crises, and never-ending scandals if fortune alone had been sufficient. She stood strong for almost 30 years because of her brilliance, resilience, and dogged persistence. There has always been no shortage of Hollywood stars who became famous due to luck, but only those with genuine talent managed to stay. Is that anything you can confirm? Catherine did. Even if you win the jackpot, your fate will still be determined by your talent. Do you agree or disagree that Catherine Zeta-Jones's journey was extraordinary? What part of her life, whether in a film or otherwise, had the most impression on you? Drop a line down here and let us know what you think. In order to read more interesting biographies of famous Hollywood actors and actresses, please subscribe and give this video a like. Looking forward to seeing you in our upcoming video.